Good afternoon, my friends. Today I want to explain to you the science behind the saying that love is the only thing that heals. And I know a lot of people say that. I've said that a lot. And this comes up a lot in coaching because I'm a neuroplasticity coach. I help people apply neuroplasticity to rewire their brain and recover from chronic illness. And a lot of times people will come to me and they'll want me to give them like a 1, 2, 3 checklist of what to do correctly. What's the right technique? How do I do this right? And I'll say, hey, the only thing you need to do right is actually care about yourself and love yourself. And a lot of times the response is kind of like, okay, that's not a checklist and that's not like neuroplasticity. But it's actually the most important part of recovery. And because I work with people in later stage recovery, as well as relapses, just getting beyond the first stage of reaching a point where your symptoms aren't ruling your life, there's a lot more to recovery than that. And a lot of people relapse because they think that's all recovery is. So here's the science. There's 3 important things to understand here. 1 is this idea that love is the only thing that heals. 2 is the goal of limbic rewiring is to get us to a place where the stress switch is off and it stays off. We stay in relaxation chemistry for the rest of our lives as the dominant state we're in. So we're feeling relaxed and peaceful and good the vast majority of the time, all the time, unless something really significant happens and our system might go into stress for a little while and then come back out. So the third thing being that safety is an inside job. So to take this, let's kind of go to like a tribal kind of scenario here, because we're working with our survival system. So this thing is very ancient. It's the product of however you believe, whatever you think, but we human beings have been around for a long time. And this is how our systems have evolved to be safe. And this is where love comes in as the only environment that is truly safe. If you have a child born, so when we're little, when we're babies as human beings, we're born unregulated, which is not quite dysregulated, but it's similar. Now in recovery, you have a chronically dysregulated system, meaning you're in nervous system and brain. You're in fight, flight, and freeze, which are again meant to be quick on off things that happen when there's an acute stressor or threat in your environment. And you get that extra burst of energy. You go into fight, flight, freeze. Your brain hijacks you to protect you. You're not just sitting there thinking, how do I escape the tiger? You just go into flight and start running. Or you go into fight, you start fighting, or you go into freeze and you freeze. That's it. You're not really having a say. You're hijacked. That's where people can get on stage and just be frozen because they're being hijacked, right? So that's the state you're chronically in those. So if you're in that switch gets flipped on, you're just there for a long time. None of your body systems can operate in that chemistry. Like your digestion, your immune system, your circulatory system, everything kind of redirects towards helping you to survive, and none of the maintenance and thriving happens. So we have a lot of physical illness and symptom that come with that state. And in order for us to create a space where we can come out of fight, flight, and freeze, what that looks like is the same when you're in recovery as it is when you're born. It's the same thing. And what that means is as we express, when you have a expression of distress, and for you that would be a symptom, it's akin to a baby crying. Now, as adults, it's very different because we're not infants. We have responsibilities, we have jobs, we've got families, we've got responsibilities, etc. But you as a human person, your hardware still works the same way. And one of the things I see a lot of people do is just they see their symptoms as an inconvenience, and they use their tools to kind of try to get themselves operating so that they can do what they want to do, which may not necessarily be what's good for them. Now, when you're a baby and you're born, you're met when you're distressed simply because you exist. If you cry, someone, in a healthy dynamic where safety is created successfully, someone's going to come and they're going to pick you up. They're going to give you regulatory input, the vibration of their voice, the warmth of their skin, the heartbeat, walking, footsteps, more rhythm-based things that help put your whole, your heart and your brain and every single body system exist in rhythm inside of you. So rhythm and vibration are very soothing. And throughout your childhood in a healthy environment, every time you express distress in any way, whether that's emotionally, I got bullied at school, I don't know what to do, I tripped and fell and hurt myself and I'm scared and I don't understand why that happened. Someone comforts you, takes care of the pain, and helps you understand the world around you so that you're not overwhelmed by your experience. And that creates a sense of safety. If you're dysregulated on a level, you get regulatory input. If you're confused and don't understand what's happening, someone teaches you how the world works so that you understand and you're no longer afraid. You're no longer dysregulated or distressed. You're calm now. That's the same thing when we're in recovery. And part of it is, again, in a healthy environment, this is where unconditional love comes in. The adults around that child are going to do that simply because they care, they love the child. They have no idea who this child's going to be. You know, as a mom of 5 kids, I can tell you, like, you have your kids, you have no idea when you're pregnant what the gender is, what kind of personality, what they're going to look like, you know, what they're going to accomplish, how much money they're going to make, whether they're going to be, you know, successful or intelligent or attractive, or you don't even care. You're just like, this is my baby. I love them. You know, that's it. All they do is inconvenience me 24/7, and I don't care. I love them so much. That is an environment of safety. And that environment is guaranteed that your need to feel okay, to have your regulatory needs met so that your body and brain can work consistently and you can stay calm and understand the world and navigate life and be safe, is met simply because you exist. You don't have to earn it. Now, if you had to earn that, and in scenarios where you do have to earn that, it's not a safe environment. A lot of you watching this up to this point probably know what I mean by that. You've probably had a childhood where you had to perform in some way in order to earn approval, and therefore love, and therefore regulatory input and a sense of safety. And that's not true safety, because we're having to sacrifice our sense of self to just try to meet someone else's need for us to be something for them. And that's not safe. That's not a safe environment, because then their love could be withdrawn, and our ability to be regulated, met, and educated, it goes in jeopardy. And we know that on a deep level. So what recovery is about is meeting yourself the way a parent would meet a child. Whenever you're having symptoms, but it's not so much what you're doing. Meeting yourself with regulatory input's important. The why is more important. The motivation, the intention, and the attitude, the posture within yourself around all of those things is the most important part. That you're doing this because you exist, you are worthy of love and being met, and you are not trying to get something from yourself. There's no exploitation happening. You're not saying, well, I'll love you, self. I will meet the regulatory needs as long as my symptoms go away during this time, or I'm able to keep my job, or I recover and everyone in my life still likes and approves of me while I'm going through recovery and afterwards. Those conditions make it impossible to recover. And I know that's really hard to do as an adult. I've done this. I recovered from chronic illness, you know, in an abusive marriage with 5 small kids, and had to get divorced and start a business and move a couple times and buy houses and blah, blah, blah. I get it. It's hard to do that. But ultimately, it doesn't work unless you're doing it because you see yourself as someone who's unconditionally worthy of love, separate from everything. Separate from being responsible, being good, being attractive, making money, believing certain things, performing in certain ways. Because otherwise you're not safe, and that stress switch is never going to turn off, and you're never going to show up for yourself consistently enough to maintain your recovery if it's conditional on, you know, your performance in some way. A lot of people I work with, I see they'll recover to the point where they don't have symptoms, and then they'll go right back into all the behaviors of pushing and being, you know, seeing their needs as an inconvenience. Ugh, I need to like sleep, and I have to still take care of myself, etc. Oh my, it's so annoying. And that's obviously not love. It's not a safe environment. You're not going to maintain your recovery with that attitude. And that's why I'm making this video, is just to share this information, because I realized that I haven't shared enough about this. And that's where the secret sauce and the biggest technique of recovery is unconditional love. Love you guys.